Right, we're now in the living room, and if you have a quick scan round, I think we might be putting another top coat on, particularly where we rub up against things and mark it. But it's looking not bad. The whole of this wall had plasterboard on and a plaster skim on. The fireplace had been blocked off and again plastered over, so it was just a modern, very plain wall. But to make the room a little bigger and we're more confidently got rid of the drafts now, we've taken the wall out, we've done the repairs upon the ceilings where the connections were made, and we've opened up the fireplace. We're actually going to put in a wood burning stove, and these two bits of rigid insulation, we were working yesterday on the detailed design of this stove, and the two bits of insulation represent the size of the stove. So when it's in, that will be the front of the stove, and it's that height, and it's going to be a short penguin stove, and I think they're manufactured in Pwlch. The bits of slate are from a fireplace in the area, and this is a mock-up of how we'll be using them. But we've had the manufacturer of the short penguin stove. He came to visit us maybe 2 weeks ago and checked the dimensions of the wall to make sure we've got enough space to meet the requirements. Up above, these are original tongue groove board ceilings. Needless to say, where this wall was, there was lots of holes because there was power sockets down, and there was an electric fire on this false wall for this living room. But we've filled all those. It didn't have this circular ceiling rose. That was long gone, although as you stripped you could see paint where it had been. And we've had a new one made, and it matches the one that still existed in the kitchen. So we're pretty confident that's a replica of what was here at the time. It certainly matches the size of the paint circle. The lofts have a lot of insulation in. It's actually 150 millimeters, 6 inches of rigid insulation, but there's also membranes to stop draft coming from inside the loft into the insulation, which reduces the effectiveness of the insulation. So there is no provision for storing anything up there, or no expectation of storing anything up there or needing to go up there for any reason. So this is hatches there in emergency. It's not like a doorway that will be used even monthly. This is the shower room. very narrow, obviously. But the architect, I think, has done a good job for us here. We've got, at the end, we've got the shower cubicle. We've now got this glass door. This is reconstituted stone slab. We've got secondary glazing in, which I keep forgetting we've still got to do a little bit of work on. And shower with extract yet to be fitted directly above. And my pride and joy is the fact that to turn the shower on, we will just press this button. It's not connected up yet, but we have done it with a temporary connection. When you press this button, the water will start going through. There's a light round this circle that will flash to indicate there's water going through. But when that light goes solid, it tells you that it's got to the right temperature. It's got to the temperature that you've set. So that means no standing underneath, turning a knob and getting covered in cold water. That's been an absolute target for me for this project. So I'm pleased we've achieved it. We're actually having a shelf from right over there right up to the shower, so you can put your curlers, and not your curlers particularly, but the various cans of smellies and whatever, toothbrush, different brushes, combs, etc. Again, that stone is a single piece. Both the windowsill and this we bought from Darlin in Porthmadog, so it's local supplier, which we are trying to do in some significant instances. Toilet, fairly obvious, and wash basin. The architect said must not have pedestals, so they hang from a framework inside behind this panelling. Must not have pedestals because that makes it much more messy for wiping the floor, cleaning the floor. And this is a cupboard. In here, this unit is the control system for the shower. And we'll put shelves in. This is the kitchen. We've got some of the units, no, we've got all the units in place. This one has still got all its cardboard covering on. And so, ta-da! That's 4-ring hob, 3-ring hob, 2-ring hob, and we've decided to have a 2-ring hob sitting about there. So there's space on both sides, there's horizontal space to work, and I guess there's going to be a kettle over here, so we'll be able to get access to that. Fridge underneath. Ooh. We haven't got handles on. So we've got drawer units under the hob. There'll be a fridge in there, butler's sink, dishwasher into here, and this again is drawer units. This will be a double socket, and this will be the isolation switch for the washing machine underneath. So all along here we will have an upstand with those electrical sockets and switches. All original timbers, and the rose is original as well. We're pretty confident. It was certainly in before we came to do the renovation. But this place this room didn't have a hatch, as we would know, to get into the loft above. And the access was actually through this cupboard and up there. So we have put a loft hatch in so we can get up. into the loft, but it's the same as in the living room. It's not designed to be used for anything, so it's only for getting up in case there's a problem somewhere. And to get up there to be able to help cut that, Wiz did go up through that cupboard where the door's now in the workshop painted. He's probably the only one that was slim enough to get up there. But if you look carefully at this, you can see a join in the tongue groove board. And that originally was the doorway from the ladies' waiting room, where we're standing now, through into their toilet behind. So we thought we should leave that in because it's part of the history of the place, rather than replace it all with brand new single piece timber. These are the tiles, the quarry tiles. They are new. They are the 8-inch square, which is the style that it would have been yonks ago. But we had to dig this up. There was no insulation in the floor, and it was quite bowed. It was a 2000 attempt at replacing a crumbling stone floor. So we've taken it up, we've got insulation in, we've got heating pipes in, we've actually got some of the electrics through the ducts in the insulation, and the sink that's over behind you, the water comes in behind the sink, but that's in ducts, 2 ducts in the insulation through to the water supply that's in the service room behind this wall. This is the master bedroom. It will get a reasonable sized double bed in. It won't get a king size bed, and at the moment it's our tool store, as you can see. Behind the wooden frame here is the original cast iron fireplace that was put in 1911 when the extension was built for the bedrooms, and we've done no painting in here yet. We're currently in the middle of a mini bash, and we're hoping that by the end of the mini bash this will be emptied so we can tackle the painting in here. This is the second bedroom, and this is where we'll have 2 bunks. You can see on the wall we've got a double socket for each bunk, and we've got a bedside light and switch for each bunk, so the bunks will be in there. We've actually painted all the walls and ceiling, but I sort of overlooked and didn't get sorted the purlin that was in here. It was black, but our architect says no, it's got to be the same as the rest of the walls and ceiling. And it's now had, in the last 2 days, it's had 2 coats of primer on and 1 coat of top coat, so that's nearly there. We're standing in now is sort of the doorway through to the kitchen, doorway through to the utility room, and behind you, doorway into the 2 bedrooms. So it's a little cramped space. And when we were putting architraves back on, some of these are original architraves and some of it is new, made for us to match the original. So this is the way in. And this, we're calling this the utility room, and this we're calling the services room. As you will see, it is a bit busy. Actually, from your initial view, maybe it doesn't look too bad, but if you walk in, I'll breathe in so you can see. On this side, this is the water filtration system. because it comes out of the same pipe that goes to the cafe down at the other end of the station. And this is exactly the same standard of filtration that there is in the cafe. The plumbing was done by the boss man of the company that installed the air source heat pump. And this is the inner unit of the air source heat pump. And most of the space is actually taken up by the hot water tank. And I think maybe the control system is in here because it sends signals outside, but the pump is outside, so the pumping is not done in here. And all these are the underfloor pipes into the various rooms. Each of the rooms has one, or in the case of the living room, 2 loops. But these actually go up through that wall, and that's a heating loop in the ceiling of the living room to add more heat into the room. This door will be locked, so that it's only the maintenance people will have access, and the light up above is sensor controlled, and you can hear somebody working in the background. We had, I lose track, it's now mid-April, so around 5 weeks ago we had, how many was it? 16 volunteers for 2 days from a company called WSP. They're consulting engineers, and they are international. But Graham Cole, the society director, he's a structural engineer, and he has met over the years a structural engineer within WSP. WSP will pay their staff 2 days full pay every year if they're going to help a charity. And they have decided that helping the Ffestiniog Railway is helping a charity. So we accept them really well. They've actually been to us, I can't remember, 4 or 5 times now. They helped on the Gwaithdy, they helped on Penryn Hostel, and I think they've been here 3 times. They helped us dig out the floors in the bedrooms, because that was an abomination and we had to dig soil out. They helped us put insulation in the floors in the living room. We actually had, I think it was 9 of them who spent the full 2 days in the lofts whilst we were doing the vast majority of the work up there. That's the royal we. I was just standing around telling them. So, they did the hard work for us. Their last visit was to bring all this slate chippings around here. And if you look down to the left, you'll see we've actually built this up. So they brought in the stones from the other side of the car park that were left over from whatever. And we've decided to put the limit of the ground finishing, made that out of old bull-nosed rail that infrastructure didn't want anymore. And personally, I think it's a nice touch. We'll have a look at it at the front of the house because you can see it from the platform. This is the air source heat pump we've had installed. And actually, it's been running since late August last year. Not really working hard because we've limited it to around 14 degrees in the house. But we had, I think, around 18 months discussion with the powers that be in the railway, because they were very reluctant to agree because of the noise they produce. Well, the first time this was working and I was here, I was showing somebody, and I was standing about a metre away and saying something like, we were worried about the noise, but I've not actually heard it running. And Phil Hawkins was with me, and he was standing in front of the fan and said, "Alan, it's running now." These are the outside lights, and they're, whatever the right phraseology is, they are environmentally friendly. So there is no light coming out horizontally. The light comes out from underneath there and shines down and does spread out. It does spread, but it doesn't shine horizontally or vertically. Cabling went in last Friday for the main cable down here, and you can see bits of the cable, and we'll have a cable through this duct that's been put in to go through into the bottom of there. This will be set hopefully about an inch below the level of this. There will be a cap on here, a slab of some sort, and we'll run the slate chippings right down this side as well. So hopefully these will appear to just be coming up out of the slate chippings, and you'll see nothing else. That's the target. We still have work to do on the outside of the house, particularly during the winter. We've been concentrating on the inside, and Mike Stringer there, he's working on the 2 doors that are the front. So that's the position as of mid-April 26. And some of it is frustrating and some of it is incredibly exciting. And if we list everything we've still got to do, the list is about this long. But every now and again, after a few hours, I look and actually we can cross that one off. One of the volunteers has done it, or 2 of the volunteers have done it. We're on a 4-day mini bash. And today I asked somebody if they would start a job putting architraves around a doorway that we'd missed out previously. And it's done. And it's fitted, it's been filled, it's been primed. So that's another job out of the way. So quite exciting and quite appropriate end to this as a woodland wanderer comes in.
Here's the Merddin Emrys behind me. As you can see, it's progressing quite well. It's all the boiler work's been now finished. It's been hydraulically tested, and it's also been steam tested. So that's all good. So as you can see, the fire holes are on because we've had a fire in each of the fireboxes, and now the insulation is going on. So this is the stuff that we normally use. It's a rock wool type material, but it's got a like a tin foil layer next to the boiler, so that it's not it doesn't get wet as easily, and hopefully will stay. So once this is on, then the cladding tin sheets can go on. These are just mild steel painted. They look a bit rough because you don't see them when the loco's all together, but obviously they're there to keep the insulation in place and hopefully stop it getting soaked with water from leaks and the rain and so on. So yeah, the frames are all back together with the fitted bolts, and you can see the gauge glass fittings are on, obviously because we've had a fire in it. The two big valves that sit on the domes that let steam into the manifolds are there. And indeed the regulator rods, the inner bits of the regulator rods are there, so that obviously in the shut position at the moment. So yes, so the boiler is pretty much all done. The superheaters are in, they've been tested as well. The smoke boxes are on, chimneys are on, so it's coming along well. So as well as the boiler work, the loco's having some mechanical work on the bogies. The springs have been off and they've been overhauled. As you can see, there's grease between all the leaves there. The bogies have been cleaned and checked, and a few minor repairs done. But it's not a major mechanical overhaul at this stage. It's just needed some minor mechanical work and checking over. The bogies are in pretty good order, really, so they're nearly ready to go back under the loco. These are the water tanks for the Merddin Emrys, or water tanks and bunkers on this side. We've had to do quite a bit more work on these than was anticipated. So say this is the fireman's side, so this is the coal bunker in here, and this is the water space here. So the bottoms of the bunkers were found to be really thin, and indeed on inspection they actually failed, and you know, obviously we would have water mixing with the coal, so that's not good. So they had to be cut out, and some quite, well, reasonably extensive repairs done, which has taken some time. But now they've been done, and you can see the manholes have been replaced in the water spaces and all sealed up, so we won't have any leaks. Obviously, this side goes against the boiler, so you'll never see this. The water connection from one end to the other passes through here, and the same on the other side. If you have a look inside the coal bunkers, you can see some of the repaired areas and new bits of plate. So that's been rotted out by the corrosive action of the coal and the banging of the lumps of coal as the bunkers have been filled and emptied over many times. But anyway, they've now been repaired, and they're just being prepared for repainting. So hopefully in the next few weeks these will get painted, and then they'll be able to be replaced onto the loco. We've got the ash pans, which are okay to go back on. You can see there's one for one end and another one down there for the other end. This bit goes up against the foundation ring, and so the grate is up here. Ash drops through, accumulates down here, and then it's raked out through these side doors, which have got a mesh in them on the inside door, so that no hot sparks can escape, hopefully. But when you need to ash out, you open this damper door and then open the inner door, and the contents of the ash pan can be raked out, hopefully straight into a wheelbarrow. So yeah, these will be going back on the boiler again in the next few weeks, and hopefully the loco will be all back together, and we'll be able to start putting it back into service.